But the big story of the week is Beetlejuice, which honestly, I would have, if you'd asked me 2 months ago, what do you think would be a good number for Beetlejuice to open with? I probably would have said like $45 million. Like if it does $45 million, I would think that would be a good win. That would be a solid number for Beetlejuice. Long delayed sequel, kind of quirky, kind of a niche property in a lot of ways. That's what I would have said 2 months ago. And then all these projections came in that it was like, it's looking to open at like 75 million. I was like, wow, that would be a fantastic opening if Beetlejuice opened at 75 million. What? That's a great number. And then they moved up to 90 million and then 100 million, and the actuals come in and it makes $111 million just here in the United States. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 last year was about this. Like it was right around this number. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So like that to me is just wild and crazy. So this movie opening over $100 million just in the United States is just incredible to me. It's one of those movies where the audience isn't obvious to me who it is exactly. Where, long delayed sequel. Tim Burton hasn't been on a great run with his movies the last 10 years. But I suppose it's one of those projects that just kind of has that it factor to it. Like my 5-year-old actually turned 6 in a couple of days. She's interested in just this idea of Beetlejuice. She say his name 3 times and he appears. She's too scared to watch the movie, but she has kind of that interest in Beetlejuice. My 2 older kids a year ago were like, oh, can we watch Beetlejuice? They brought that up to me. It wasn't something that I was selling to them. This is before we had a trailer for the new one. And so it just kind of has one of those properties that's wacky, zany enough. Kids like something that's creepy and weird, but not so much that it's pushes them away, something that's in that category that they can dip their toe in the creepy, the gross out factor, but that their parents will still let them watch it. And then you add to that a little bit of a renaissance with Wednesday, or a big renaissance with Wednesday for Tim Burton, the Jenna Ortega effect. Throw all those pieces together, and Beetlejuice became like this big cultural event kind of out of nowhere, at least from my perspective. And in the past, I didn't see it at all, but looking backwards, I go, I guess, yeah, there's a lot of things that kind of come together that make Beetlejuice much more broadly appealing than is immediately obvious, where Tim Burton, in a sense, is kind of niche because he's so quirky, weird, dark, has a very specific aesthetic. But just a couple of his properties are tremendously popular that have that crossover appeal beyond just Tim Burton fans, and Beetlejuice is one of them in particular. If you take Jenna Ortega, put her in there, and everybody's going wild for it. So Beetlejuice opened to an insane $110 million just domestically. Now, the movie's not doing as good globally. Actually, it's not doing nearly as good internationally. It only made $36 million in other markets. So 75% of its gross is just from the United States. That's not a great sign. That could hold this film back. I don't know enough about how many markets it released in to know if you can expect that to get bigger as it releases in more markets, or if Beetlejuice is just kind of a distinctly American Tim Burton franchise. Like a lot of his other big blockbusters did 60% of their business internationally. Even stuff like Dark Shadows, very big internationally. Alice in Wonderland, internationally. Even as I looked at his stop motion stuff, it seemed like they performed over 50% outside the United States. So I'm kind of surprised that Beetlejuice isn't doing that. And perhaps if you go back to my original prediction, 45% in the United States, what if I was kind of right in a sense of, if that had been the number, then the 36 international isn't so crazy. But maybe the movie is just dramatically overperforming in the United States, thus making its international performance seem particularly weak. But That's putting an unnecessarily negative spin on what is an enormous triumph. This movie has made $150 million in 3 days. It cost $100 million, so it is right on track to do great numbers. And Beetlejuice is a property that sells a lot of t-shirts, Funko Pops, sandworm costumes that my kids put on, and all that other stuff that's the trickle-down revenue beyond just box office. So this is a big triumphant win. Do you think Beetlejuice did as well as it did because of universal appeal between nostalgia fans and also new generation that want to see scary but funny material? Exactly. And I think that's what I missed about it. That's what I wasn't understanding about the appeal for Beetlejuice. I was thinking at it as just as a nostalgia one of like, is there that much nostalgia for Beetlejuice? Is there anyone really talking? How big is the grown-up audience for that? And I was missing the other piece to it, where you have a new generation that likes that scary but not too scary, scary but fun, scary but not dangerous. Like you're dipping your toe in that world, but it's also all in lighthearted fun. It's not going to actually scare you. So they want that, and my kids want that, and they're interested in that. And that to me was the one who was like, okay, that's the piece I've really been missing in all of this. And I think those two things really compound each other. Where my interest in Beetlejuice, I'd be curious about it because I'm very familiar with the original one, grew up with it, but I'm mildly curious about it. And as soon as my kids are interested in a thing from my childhood, my interest level raises up because I want to experience it with them. And so then, we bought them sandworms costumes and stuff just to elevate the experience, because that was so fun that they were excited about this thing. And that wouldn't have happened if they weren't proactively saying that. They said out loud, we want to dress as sandworms. Like, my kids are excited about Beetlejuice. They're excited to be a part of all right, we can join in on the fun on that. And so, yeah, it's that multiple faceted, experience that it's both generations, and for two different reasons. As we have two different reasons, it really can be quite powerful. Most of these clips are pulled from my Patreon live streams. I do about 6 live streams every single month. For $2 per month, $20 per year, you can get access to all the exclusive videos and live streams. For $5 per month, you get your name on my end card. At the top tier, you get a 30-minute video chat with me each month. The link down below in the description has more information.